Good day all. Today we will discuss parallel lines, right? And a new pair of angles called corresponding angles. Now in this chapter we will explore the relationship between pairs of corresponding angles that are created when two parallel lines are cut by a third line called the transversal. Now what are parallel lines? Parallel lines, and here we have a few examples in real life. In our first picture we can see some lines here, and that is the lines on an athletics track, right? They are all what we call parallel. Secondly, here we have cables, and in our last picture we have railroad tracks. Now as you can see in pictures above, parallel lines never cross. You can see there, they will never cross. They run into the same direction and they never meet. Now if we measure any place, they are the same distance apart. This line, even if you extend it, and that one, there will always be 2 centimeters in between them, right? The same distance apart. The same over here. Extend this 2 line and they will be 5 centimeters apart, and the same with this example here, 1 centimeter apart, right? So parallel lines, they are lines that never cross. They run into the same direction and they never meet, right? Sometimes lines are not parallel and we call them non-parallel lines. So this non-parallel lines. Here we have a line and it's extended to the right. We have another one coming down there. They will meet at a certain point, or they will cross at a certain point. These 2 lines, they are non-parallel. These 2 here, they will cross and they are non-parallel lines. So we have a new word today, transversal. Now a transversal is a line cutting or passes through 2 or more lines. So here we have 2 lines, and the third line here is the transversal, and you can see the transversal passes through line number 1 and through line number 2. Here we have 2 non-parallel lines and still we have a transversal that cut them. So when a transversal intersects, cut or passes through 2 lines, it produces various types of angles in pairs. We can see 6 angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 8 angles over here, right? So I'll just repeat that. When a transversal intersects 2 lines, it produces various types of angles in pairs. Now when a transversal cuts 2 non-parallel lines, the new pairs of angles have no relationship, and that means they will not be equal to 180, or they will not be equal, but you will still find your vertically opposite angles that are equal and your supplementary adjacent angles that add up to 180. But when a transversal cuts 2 parallel lines, the new pairs of angles have relationship. They are equal or equal to 180 degrees. So here we have 2 parallel lines, transversal, and the new pair of angles that we are going to discuss today will have a relationship if the lines are parallel. So when we draw parallel lines, over here, we use arrow marks, okay? Or we can say we mark them the same to show that the lines are parallel. If there are more parallel or more pairs of parallel lines, here we have a pair and there we have a pair, then we use one arrow for one pair and two arrows for the other pair. Then we can see immediately these two lines, they are parallel, and that two lines, they are parallel. So the first type of angles that are formed when a transversal cut two parallel lines are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. Now they are in the same position at each intersection. Watch here. Here we have our two parallel lines. That is our transversal. They're on the same place by each intersection. Below the parallel line, below the parallel line. Both of them are on the right hand side of the transversal. You see there, the right hand side, both below the parallel lines. So in the first diagram, they are both under the parallel lines, as you can see, and on the right hand side of the transversal. B. Over here we can see both of them are on top of the parallel lines, and this time they are on the left hand side. Okay, number one, same position. Two, both under the parallel lines and on the right hand side. Above the parallel lines and on the left hand side of the transversal. They are always on the same side of the transversal, both on the left side or both on the right side. Now if we color the lines that make the corresponding angles, we will see the F shape. So you can always look for angles forming the F shape too. Here we have the F, that is the short arms of the F, the long arm, and you can see both below the short arm of that F symbol. Okay, this F faces to the left. Then we have another F symbol here, below and below. Right, we have an F on its back, so we can see on the right hand side of the short arm, on the right hand side of the arm, or on the right hand side of the parallel line, on the right hand side of the parallel line. Here we have another F, below, below, right, below the parallel line, below the parallel line. Now practice makes perfect. See if you can recognize the pairs of corresponding angles in the following diagrams. The answers will appear on the last slide, but I will help you over here. Say if the following angles marked 1 and 2 are corresponding angles. Here we have our transversal, here we have our two lines. This one is above the parallel line, but this one is below the parallel line. So no, they are not corresponding. One and this angle here, they are corresponding. Here we have two lines again. Below the parallel line, below the parallel line. Both of them on the left hand side. Yes, they are corresponding. Here we have two lines. Left hand side, left hand side. Right. Yes, they are corresponding. D, what do you think of D? Okay. On the right hand side, on the right hand side of the two lines. Yes, they are corresponding. Look at E. 1 and 2. No, because 1 is below the line, but 2 is above the line on the other side. So they are not corresponding. Last one. 1 and 2. 1 is on the right hand side of the line, but 2 is on the left hand side of the line. No, they are not corresponding. Now let us find out next what the relationship is between a pair of corresponding angles when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal. Now I say here, use your protractor and measure angle 1 and 2. You can do that at a later stage. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the answer. Okay, I'm going to give you that answer there, and I'll just take out my pen. Now if I measure from this line to that line, which you can do at a later stage, I get 50 degrees. And you can actually see also it's an acute angle there. If I measure angle 2 over here, I also get 50 degrees. Now, from our previous work, you know that angles on a straight line add up to 180. So if angle 1 is equal to 50, then angle 3 must be, and we have it over here. If we use our previous knowledge, we know that angle 3 and angle 1 is equal to 180, angles on a straight line. So angle 3 is equal to 180 minus 50, which is 130 degrees. So I'll write it in there for you. 130 degrees. Right. The same with number 4. 2 plus 4 is equal to 180 degrees. If 2 is equal to 50, then 4 is equal to 180 minus 50, which is also equal to 130 degrees. Now over here you can see that angle 1 and angle 2, they are corresponding angles. One is above the parallel line and the other one is above the parallel line. They are corresponding angles. The same with angle 3 and 4. 3 is above and 4 is above. So what did we notice? Angle 1 is equal to angle 2 and angle 3 is equal to angle 4. So when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal over there, the corresponding angles are always equal. Right? Corresponding angles are always equal. Right. What we are going to do now, we are going to calculate the steps. Yes, we are going to calculate actually unknown angles when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal. So we'll look at the steps again. So find the value of angles marked A. Sorry for that one. Okay, let me just go back. Find the value of angles marked A and B. Over here, A and B. Let me just get my pen. A and B. Give reasons for your answers. Now you will first identify the corresponding angles in the figure. Let me rather take out my pointer. Then you can see 135 and A. Do they form a pair? Yes. They are what we call corresponding angles. left hand side of the parallel line, left hand side of the parallel line. So we know now that A and 135, they are corresponding angles. Then number 2, we look for vertically opposite angles. No, we can't find vertically this two, they are vertically opposite, but this one's not marked, or that one is opposite A, but they are not marked, so we are not working with them. B, then we can see that B and A, they are on a straight line, so they must be equal to 180 degrees. So we always work from the given angle, and we say here that A and 134, they are the same. So A is equal to 135 degrees. Why? Corresponding angles. Now we have the value of A. Then B and A, they are on a straight line. So B plus 135 is equal to 180. And this time the reason, adjacent angles on a straight line, or you can even say supplementary adjacent angles. So B is equal to 180 degrees minus 135 degrees, and B is equal to 45 degrees. Right. Now also, when a pair of corresponding angles are equal, the lines that form them are parallel. Look at this one. This angle, 102 degrees, is corresponding to this angle marked 115 degrees. They are corresponding angles, but they are not equal. And because they are not equal, the lines are not parallel. And you can see there, if you extend these lines to that side, they will eventually meet. And the distance between them is not the same. Right? You can see there, the distance between them is not the same. Now look at the second figure here. 70 and 70. They are corresponding angles. Right hand side of the line, right hand side of the line. Okay, so the lines are parallel. If the corresponding angles are equal, the lines are parallel. Now I want you here to state whether the following pairs of angles are. No. State whether the following pairs of lines are parallel. Give a reason for your answer. We look at this one here. This line and that line. Although you can see they're not parallel, you must prove it. That angle and 58 and 35, they are corresponding angles, and because they are not equal, the lines are not equal, not parallel, right? The lines are not parallel because the angles are not equal. In this one over here, this angle here is 70 degrees. This one is 110. What is the value of E? Now, you can't just say it's 70 because it's corresponding. You must, because you don't know if the lines are parallel. So you will first work it out by means of supplementary adjacent angles. So E and 110 degrees, they are equal to 180. So E is equal to 180 minus 110, and E is also equal to 70. So these lines are parallel. Then we get to C. 28 degrees, B. So what you must do, you must first subtract B from 180, right? You subtract the 100, you subtract 126 from 180. Let me just get my pen. So 126 plus B, that is equal to 180 degrees. So B is equal to what? 180 minus 126. Okay, and you get the answer there. Then you know that A is equal to 28 degrees because we have here vertically opposite angles, right? 28 and 28. Work out the value of B and see if B is also equal to 28. If B is equal to 28, then the lines are parallel. If B is not equal to 28, then the lines are not parallel. We go to the last one here. And you can see here 90, and you can work out this angle here. Or you can work out that angle there. They are vertically opposite angles. Then from there you move to that angle there. So that one and that one, they are corresponding angles. And both 90, which means the lines are parallel. Here we have number 2. Find the sizes of angles marked with letters in the following diagrams. Give a reason for each answer. I will guide you, but no answers. The answers will appear on the last slide. You are first going to work out A, because you know that A and 124, they are corresponding angles, right? You take a pointer and A, corresponding angles. Once you have A, you always start working from the given angle. A and 124 corresponding, equal, then you move to B, because by now you know when two lines intersect, the vertically opposite angles are equal. Then we move to this B. Where do we start? We start with 83. 83 form a pair with which angle? With X. With X. To find X, look at our straight line. They are adjacent, so you will subtract 83 from 180 to get X. Once you have X, you can move to Y, because X and Y, they are corresponding angles. And once you have Y, you can move to Z, because you know these two angles add up to 180 degrees. Next one. This one is 71 degrees, and first decide which is the other pair, or which is or corresponding to 71, or vertically opposite 71 degrees, or supplementary adjacent with 71 degrees. We only see the corresponding angles here, the pair. So 71 and P, they are corresponding angles. So you have that answer P. Then you move to Q, because you know P plus Q equal to 180. Supplementary adjacent angles. Once you have Q, you can move to R. Q and R, they are corresponding angles. And once you have R, you can go to S. R plus S equal to 180 degrees. And that is the way you work it out. You start by 71 and you find 71. Is 71 a pair with P, with Q, with R, or S? No, it only forms a pair with P. They are corresponding angles. Then you move to Q, they are a pair, supplementary adjacent angles. Once you have Q, you move to R, they are a pair, and once you have R, you move to S. These two lines are parallel. That is the transversal, and we have a transversal over here. right hand side of the parallel line, right hand side of the parallel line. So 65 degrees and F form a pair. So we start with F, and once you have F, you can work out G, because F, 73 and G, they all have a common vertex over here, and we know they add up to 180 degrees. So you will first find F, because F and 65 degrees, they form a pair, and from there you will work to G. Over here, the last one, we have a pair of parallel lines over there, and we have a pair over there. I marked this with 2 arrows to show you they are parallel lines, and I mark this too with 1 arrow to show that they are a pair of parallel lines. We start with 64 degrees. 64 and A, do they form a pair? If your answer is yes, then you can work out A. From A, you can move to B. A and B form a pair. Can you see there? Right hand side of the parallel line, right hand side of the parallel line. Yes, that's the way you find B. So A and B form a pair, and they will be equal. A and C, you see there? Above the line, above the parallel line. So A and C have the same size. And once you have C, you can work out D, because C and D, or C plus D, equal to 180 degrees. And here we have all the answers. So what you can do, you can work through the exercise again, compare your answers with my answers, and if you are happy, then you can move to lesson 2, which will be another new pair of angles. Thank you.